Oh. Hello, everyone. Man, we're here. Finally, to the last game of this series, of this marathon that I've been doing for the past couple months. You know, it feels good. Here we are at the final game, Elden Ring. As you guys know, I've been doing a small little series of, I've just been playing through all of the From Software Souls-like games. So I started with Demon Souls, and then I beat that, you know. Then I went to Dark Souls 1, beat that, Dark Souls 2, beat that, then Dark Souls 3, beat that, finishing the whole Souls series. And then I went to Bloodborne, beat that, and last night we beat Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, beat that, and that was literally like 12 hours ago. I beat the final boss. It was crazy. I suggest you go check that out. That will be on my YouTube channel. I mean, this is gonna go on my YouTube as well. But now, here we are to the 7th game in the From Software Souls-like series, Elden Ring, and my personal favorite of theirs. I think Elden Ring is not only the best Souls-like, but the best, like, game. I think Elden Ring is such a phenomenal masterpiece of a game. And I'll explain why as I play through it, but just know that this game holds a special place in my heart. Because I think I've explained this story before, but I'll explain it again because here we are finally playing my favorite game. My favorite genre of video games is RPGs, role-playing games. And an RPG, you could apply that term to basically any sort of game. Like, technically, if you play a sports game, you're playing the role of, the quarterback or, the center in NBA or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're technically still role-playing in a game that may not necessarily be a role-playing game. What I mean when I say role-playing games is games that build an entirely separate world away from our own reality. And they create this whole lore behind it, these completely new characters, this completely new setting, and it has its own story, and it uses its writing and its characters and its lore to, like, immerse you within that world. I think being able to take someone out of their reality completely and immerse you in a completely separate world and make you care just as much about that world as you do your own world in real life, I think that is such an impressive feat. It's like, it's crazy, like how immersed you can get. And I find myself immersed in a lot of different, sort of worlds and stories throughout all my, games. And this is most likely probably my favorite RPG because of the way it allows you to build your own character. The character builds you can do in this game are nearly infinite. Like, it's crazy the amount you can do to make your character into whatever you want. If you want to make your character into this, beautiful swordsman, and wielding this crazy katana, and you're going crazy with all these slick little moves, you know what I'm saying? You can do that. If you want to be a wizard wielding all the most powerful spells, you can do that. If you want to be a flame god throwing fire at your enemies, you can do that. Or you can be a caveman using a stick to beat all of your enemies. You can do that as well. You can make all of the craziest, coolest, most awesome builds, but you could also make the stupidest, most gimmicky builds. And the game allows you to create your own story within your character. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, you're immersed in their world, and you're doing their main story, but it allows you such freedom to create whatever you want out of your main character that it's like you can create your own story almost. And that immersion is one of the many reasons why I love this game. I think the main reason why I love this game is just the freedom that it gives you. Like, there's like a 5-minute tutorial phase, and then after that, the game says, do whatever the fuck you want. And the freedom to do anything can be a little intimidating to, especially to new players, players new to the whole Souls-like genre or From Software gaming studio. That type of freedom can be very intimidating to a lot of people. A lot of people like linear experiences because it allows them to, you know, okay, this is what I do next, then this is what I do next. It's honestly just preference, but I prefer a game that kind of just doesn't really hold your hand. You know what I'm saying? And this game doesn't do any hand-holding at all. And I think it's just a phenomenal experience, and I love the way they execute it in this game. I remember I first got this game. I mean, I didn't get it immediately when it came out, but as you guys know, I've explained this many times, my first From Software game was Dark Souls 3 back in 2016. Alright? I was in GameStop, and I saw the cover of Dark Souls 3. And I think it might have just come out like a couple weeks ago or something, because the GameStop was doing like a little promotional little area for it. It's like, hey, check out Dark Souls 3, look at all this art, it looks cool. And I was like, wow, that actually does look really cool. The game cover looks sick. I'm looking at the back of the cartridge, like reading all about it, you know. Remember when we used to get physical discs? Yeah, that was that time. And I was reading all about it, and I was like, oh my god, this game does look pretty sick. So I get it. Not even knowing a thing about it, just I get it because it looks cool. And I go home, I play it, and we all know the infamous tutorial boss in Dark Souls 3, probably the best tutorial boss in all From Software. And yeah, I struggled, I'll be honest. I struggled for a while on that boss because I didn't understand the game's mechanics. I thought the controls were a little confusing. I thought that it was bullshit. Why is my character so like weak? You know what I'm saying? Like, why the fuck am I so weak? I get 1 or 2 shot by this thing, and it's like the game doesn't give me a chance. You know what I'm saying? I just started playing, and they throw me into like an end game boss. That's what I was thinking at the time. So I just stopped playing it altogether. I think I beat it. I think it took me like a couple hours, and I finally beat the boss. And then I stopped playing because I was like, if that's going to be every boss fight, that's like the most frustrating shit ever. I thought it was actually a bad game. I thought Dark Souls 3 was a bad game when I first started playing it. But then, I was in school, you know, talking to my friends, and I guess my friend maybe like said like something about Dark Souls 3 or something, or maybe it was like, oh, what games are you playing recently? And I said, I got this game, but it's ass. And he was like, you think Dark Souls 3 is ass? And apparently he fucking loved the game. And I was like, yeah, dude, it's bullshit. It's like your character's super weak. The game doesn't give you a chance to actually learn anything. They just throw you into like the deep end immediately, and it's bullshit. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, that's it? That's all you have to say? And he's like, yeah, no, the game definitely does all of that. But the way he explained to me was it's like it's like learning how to ride a bike or something. It's like once you get it, it's such a rewarding experience. And he explained it to me. He was like finally beating that boss, didn't you feel good? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I felt relieved because I didn't have to fight that thing again. You know, I felt good because I finally beat him. He's like, yeah, you overcame a significant challenge. And didn't that feel good? I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, that's the whole point. And he convinced me to get back into the game again and actually give it a proper chance this time, sink my teeth into it, put more than just 1 or 2 hours into the game, actually learn its control scheme and learn what it has to offer and give it another chance. And he said, if you put like 7 or 8 hours into it and you still don't like it, then, you know, fine. Then maybe it's just a preference thing and you don't like that style of game. But trust me, if you do like it, you're gonna love it. And he was right. I never really saw much of that guy again. But I digress, you know. Shout out to him. I'm not gonna, you know, dox him or say his real name, but he knows who he is. Shout out him. Was it? I think that was middle school, like 8th grade or something. Shout out him. He knows who he is. Thank you, because without you, I would have never given Dark Souls 3 a second chance, and that means I would have never given any of the games a chance, any of the From Software games a chance. And now, From Software makes my favorite games of all time. Swear to God. And yeah, no, I just want to say thank you to that guy. You know, I got back into Dark Souls 3. I beat that first boss. It took me not that long, not nearly as long as the first time, but it still took me a while. I beat him though, and then I actually sunk my teeth into the game. I was getting new weapons. I was, you know, exploring and seeing all the game that has to offer, and I just fell in love with it. By the time I fought Abyss Watchers in Dark Souls 3, I was like, damn, this game's bosses are actually pretty fun. You know what I'm saying? I like conquering a big enemy or like someone who's like really hard to beat. And then I fought Abyss Watchers, which at the time was probably the hardest fight in the game. No, I'm not in the game. Like up until that point, that's definitely the hardest fight, I would say, especially for a new player. I got my ass kicked, and Abyss Watchers is a phenomenal fight. I'm kind of sad because in my Dark Souls 3 playthrough that I just did, I kind of didn't really do them justice. I kind of just like crushed them like immediately. I think I did it first or second try, and it was like, holy fuck, I'm overpowered right now. But at the time when I was playing it for the first time, I struggled. Abyss Watchers kicked my ass, but that was like the first peak boss that I experienced, I think, in From Software. Because Udex Gundyr is great. He's a great starting fight, I think. And he's honestly a great fight. But Abyss Watchers is just a step above him. And Abyss Watchers just really just fucking grasped me and just fucking took me into the deep end. And honestly, I'm grateful because I fell in love with that fight. I love Abyss Watchers. And that was probably the first peak fight, peak boss fight of From Software that I experienced. And yeah, then I went on to play Dark Souls 3, beat Dark Souls 3, and then exploring some of the other games that From Software had made, and especially Dark Souls 3 naturally implies that there are other Dark Souls games. So I was like, okay, well, let me check out Dark Souls 1 and 2. And then I played Dark Souls 1, completely different experience. I was like, wow, this game is really slow. And honestly, I would say Dark Souls 1, starting with Dark Souls 3 and then moving to Dark Souls 1 is like being born and learning how to run and then having to be taught how to walk, if that makes any sense. Like, it was much slower paced, and it was like a completely different strategy used to fight enemies and bosses in that game. So it was another learning curve. But, you know, I eventually beat that game. And then I played Dark Souls 2, and I didn't really get through it. I got, like, you know, I defeated a couple of the main guys, but I didn't really beat the game. And then Sekiro came out. I think I explained this last night. Sekiro came out. Me and my brother were talking about, oh, when did it actually come out? Even though it came out in 2019. Sekiro came out. I got it because it's From Software. I'm like, oh, this should be a great game. and it was a completely different game from any of the Dark Souls games. And I was like, holy shit, this is completely different and tough. So I played it for a little while, but then I stopped, and then COVID rolled around, and, you know, lockdowns happened, and, you know, you're stuck at home. What are you gonna do? Okay, I guess I'll pick this game back up, and fucking loved it. Fucking love Sekiro, and I beat Sekiro, and then I explored Bloodborne and all the other games, and I was like, okay, these games are pretty fucking good. And then, finally, after this long-ass story, I finally get around to Elden Ring. Elden Ring came out during my second semester of freshman year of college. So, what? It came out more than 3 years ago at this point. 2022, I think it came out in February or something. And I had seen it. I'd seen all this stuff about it beforehand, like all the like hype and leaks, and I was like, oh wow, this game looks pretty cool, but it's probably not going to come out anytime soon. It's a pretty big scale game, from what I've been hearing. But then it all of a sudden was announced, and all of a sudden it came out. It feel like it came out of nowhere, and I didn't even know it came out at first until it popped up on my YouTube. Like, someone was like showing gameplay of it. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Elden Ring? This is out? What the fuck? And then I saw everyone playing it, and I saw my favorite YouTuber, like, of all time, Corey Kenshin, playing Elden Ring, and I was like, oh fuck, this is huge. This game is huge. Corey has never played any sort of From Software game on his channel before, but Elden Ring, he's playing Elden Ring? This game's about to be huge. And while I was in college, I didn't really have access to, I didn't bring my own console to college. My roommate had an Xbox, and I asked him, hey, spring break's coming up, you know, if I get this game over spring break and bring it back here to play it, can I play on your console? And he's like, yeah, sure, no problem. So it came out in February, and then spring break rolled around in March, so I had to wait like weeks before getting Elden Ring. But I finally got it, and I got it at like the first day of spring break. I came home, got it, and played it all spring break. And I was just exploring, just finding random shit, and just doing all the bullshit, honestly. I wasn't even making any progress in like the game's main story. I was just exploring, and I loved it. And I loved the concept of making a game like Dark Souls 3, but open world. I loved that concept because I think, I don't know if it's a flaw, but a huge turnoff for a lot of players in the previous From Software games, like the Dark Souls games, is that if you encounter a boss and you really just can't beat him, you can't really do anything about it. Like, you just have to beat him in order to make progress. Like, if you encounter, let's say you're playing Dark Souls 1 and you're fighting Artorias or something, and you just can't beat him for the life of you, there's not really much you can do about it. The only thing that I can think of doing is like, oh, just go somewhere else and farm. You know what I'm saying? But farming is not fun. That's not an intended way to play either. You know, farming souls or whatever. Like, that's not what the game wants you to do. And, you know, if you play the game naturally, then you shouldn't have to farm. It's boring, it's tedious. You shouldn't have to do that, right? But in those older games, it was like if you hit a wall, you really have to learn how to get over that wall. The game challenges you to overcome, you know, your barriers and stuff. And I think that's a good thing, but I can see as to why it's a turnoff for a lot of new players. If they really just can't get past a certain boss, then it's like, but there's nothing else I can do. You know what I'm saying? I just can't beat this boss. There's nothing else I can do. So, like, I'm just done with this game, you know? And, you know, a lot of players quit. I quit because of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's just, because, like, I played Dark Souls 3, and it's like, oh, if it's just going to be like that every time I fight a boss, I don't want to fucking fight the bosses. You know what I'm saying? But Elden Ring took that issue and made it into an advantage of theirs. By making their game open world, you can really choose how difficult you want a boss fight to be. If you want to, you can click start, you know, maybe grab a couple items, but you can go straight to Margit or whatever, fight him, and make that fight as challenging as you want it to be. Or you can take your time, explore, get some new weapons, level up a bit, explore some caves and stuff, get some new items, and then you go fight Margit, and that fight will all of a sudden be kind of easy because you're all of a sudden more powerful. You know what I'm saying? The game really shows you how to progress in such a unique way by using its open world to your advantage. It's literally like, people were complaining about, when it first came out, people were complaining about Elden Ring's difficulty without really realizing that they don't really have to fight 90% of the bosses in the game. You know what I'm saying? There's only like, I don't know, 9 or 10 required bosses in this game. Like, you don't have to fight, you can skip out on like half of the remembrance bosses if you wanted to. But I mean, I wouldn't suggest that. But it's literally like the game has a built-in difficulty slider. You can choose how difficult you want to make the game. And I love that. And a lot of people struggle to realize that. If they just, you know, go out and explore, find some new items, level up a bit, you can make the fight a lot easier. You know what I'm saying? And I love that. I just love that. Because a lot of people were complaining about the difficulty. And it's like the game literally has a built-in difficulty slider. You can literally slide it to easy mode if you go grab this weapon or grab whatever the fuck and level up a bunch. You know what I'm saying? Or you can slide it to hard mode, not do any of that, and go straight to every boss fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love that idea, and they executed it so well in Elden Ring. So when the game first came out, I got it spring break, played it all spring break, brought it over to where I was going to college at, played it on my roommate's Xbox, and then freshman year's over. I beat the game by the time my freshman year ended, and then what else? Oh yeah, summer break, played the game all summer, and then finally I had taken a big break from the game when my sophomore year had started, because the roommate that I once had I wasn't no longer rooming with, so I couldn't use his Xbox. But while I was playing over the summer, I was playing on my brother's Xbox. This was before he got a PS5, so I was playing on my brother's Xbox. And then my brother got a PS5, and with that, he also got Elden Ring and Bloodborne as well. And now this is the PS5 that I'm playing on right now as we speak. And just on this PS5, I think I have about like 800 hours on Elden Ring. But if you were to add up the total hours I have throughout all of my saves, all of the different consoles I played on, I would easily have over 1,000 hours, probably around 1,500 hours, I would say, on just Elden Ring. I don't know if I'm proud of that, but that just to show you how much I love this game. One last thing before I stop yapping and everything. Skyrim used to be my favorite game of all time. Skyrim came out, 2011? And Skyrim was the first ever style of game of that nature that I've ever played. RPGs. Skyrim was my first RPG I have ever played. And with that being like my first RPG, naturally I would love Elden Ring. You know what I'm saying? Because back in the day when you play Skyrim, you're able to make your own character. choose his path, you know, choose what powers you want to have, you know, you want to wield a sword, an axe, a mace, a hammer, or do you want to wield magic, you don't want to be a necromancer, you know what I'm saying, you want to be a thief, being all sneaky and shit. Like, you get to choose your player's path, and you get to make it how he looks, and basically after the tutorial, Skyrim says, do whatever you want. It's like the exact same structure as Elden Ring. And so naturally, I would love Elden Ring when it comes out, and I would love it. And literally, what Skyrim does, you know, maybe wrong, or maybe just doesn't do as, you know, not that well, Elden Ring makes up for it. It's literally like Elden Ring is like does everything that Skyrim did right, and then added on top of it even more shit. Like, it's crazy. I love Skyrim so much that I even got a Skyrim tattoo. It's on the back of my calf. That's the logo right there. And I love Elden Ring so much that I even got... Okay, well, the light isn't doing it justice. I even got an Elden Ring tattoo of literally the logo. I got the cover art of Elden Ring on my thigh. That's how much I fucking love this game. And I'm actually going to do a little more with this piece. I want to get some, like, some sort of background to it, like some smoke or some fog. You know, really add that background element to it to bring the two pieces together. But I digress. That's just tattoos and stuff. But I loved Skyrim so much because of the freedom that, you know, it gave you immediately off the bat. And for a while, a long-ass time, I think Skyrim came out in 2011, right? Or 2012? Maybe 2010? Well, it came out early 2010s, right? And for the longest time, it was my favorite game of all time. Purely because of the freedom and the world building that it has. The lore of Skyrim is insane. And like I said, when Elden Ring came out, it was basically just like the natural next step. Like, it just did everything Skyrim did and more. So it was tough for me to say, but a while back, like probably a year or two ago, it was tough for me to say, but I was like, finally, you know, I think Elden Ring might be my favorite game of all time. I think it might have beat out Skyrim. And that's insane to say, because Skyrim was my favorite game for a decade. Literally a decade of my life. I would go back to play Skyrim all the time. And like no other game that I had played since Skyrim really gave me that feeling, that pure feeling of freedom and joy, until Elden Ring came out. Elden Ring gave me the exact same feeling. Like, I was chasing that high, and I finally got it again with Elden Ring. And that feeling is how I kind of knew, like, okay, Elden Ring might be something great. And it is. So, I've been yapping for damn near half an hour. I'm sorry about that. But I just wanted to profess my love for this game and the story behind my relationship with this game. I just love it so much. I just love it so much. Thank you, Elden Ring. Thank you, From Software. Anyway, let's get into it. I mean, you can see how much I love this game. I mean, I've streamed it before, don't get me wrong. Sekida. Look at all of these different playthroughs I have just on the PS5. Just on the PS5. Not even counting all the playthroughs I might have had on my brother's Xbox or my roommate's Xbox. You know what I'm saying? This is just the PS5. And that's not even counting like deleted saves or whatever, you know? I've showcased my Elden Ring builds before, and actually I have a YouTube video exploring all of my different Elden Ring builds. You can go check that out. This is a Faith only playthrough. I streamed that. I played Faith only and I beat the game just leveling Faith. This is a lightning build, basically like a Death Knight cosplay in the DLC. and the detonates are super powerful, so I thought, like, okay, you know, let's just copy them, and it worked. So, but obviously it has some more nuance to it than just that. So that's a great, super fun lightning build. This is Sekida. This is, like, I think a dexterity build, and it has 69 hours in it. Nice. It's kind of fitting since I just beat Sekiro. This is a girl, so her name's Sekida, and basically she just uses a katana, and there's like a little potion you can drink, and it basically allows you to deflect any incoming attacks. Most incoming attacks, you can deflect it and then use like a counter, you know what I'm saying? And it builds up enemies' posture, just like in Sekiro. So if you wanted to play Sekiro but in Elden Ring, I have the build for you. This is Draconis. He's a dragon human thing, and this build basically only uses the dragon communion incantations to defeat enemies. Super fun. This is Yostin, and he is a faith user using holy damage, specifically the Euporia twin blade for most of its main damage. He's super fun to play. And then I have Angelina, which is a magic build. So I have all sorts of different builds, all sorts of different saves. If you wanted to check my credentials, here it is. You know, my favorite thing in this game is just experimenting with builds, seeing, you know, what weapon could be, you know, min-maxed to make it the best, you know, what type of theme I want to make a character. I just love it. I love making new characters, new builds, as you can see. But we're not worried about any of that. Right now, we're worried about starting a new game, a new playthrough of Elden Ring. So, without further ado, let us begin our Elden Ring journey. So, I've been kind of wondering, like, throughout the entire time I've been, you know, doing this series of playing From Software games, I've been asking myself, okay, what type of build do I want to do for Elden Ring? Because naturally that's the last game, and that's my favorite game, and it's going to take the longest because it's the biggest. So, in my mind, I'm like, what have I not done before? But then I thought to myself, I haven't not done anything in this game. I've made all sorts of builds. So, my next natural step of thinking, well, what do I like to play the most? And I like playing all builds the most. Like, I literally have no preference as to who I play, what I play, how I play it. I love playing all sorts of builds. But I finally landed on the conclusion that I think in order to showcase this game properly, I want to, you know, show off all different types of builds in one playthrough. So, in order to do that, I have to have a very widespread stat line, be able to wield all sorts of different weapons and spells. So, I think the sort of build I'm going to do is what's called a quality build. Specifically, I'm going to be leveling up strength and dexterity primarily. I'll have a little bit in, you know, intelligence and faith and everything to wield some other spells and showcase some other stuff. But for the most part, it's going to be strength and dexterity. Because if you level up those two stats, then you'll have access and be able to wield about like 80-90% of the weapons in the game. That's like the whole appeal of quality builds. Like, you can, you know, wield all sorts of stuff. You can use all sorts of different, you know, weapons and stuff. It gives you options. And I think that's what I want to do with this playthrough is just showcase all of the different stuff that this game has to offer. So, I think what I'm going to do is, this is the starting class character. You can choose your character, and they all have different stats. There are some that are more specialized. I do not think I'll be choosing those characters, like the bandit. I won't be choosing the bandit, the astrologer, the prophet. I probably won't choose the prisoner, even though he looks funny. Probably not the confessor, because those are more specialized classes. Ultimately, in Elden Ring, it doesn't matter. like at all. Like halfway through the game, like you forget your starting class. You know what I'm saying? It really doesn't matter. Whereas in other From Software games, it actually kind of matters. And in some, like Bloodborne, it actually super matters because you can't respec in that game. So, but in this game, you can respec. And in this game, they give you so many fucking levels. Like halfway through the game, it's like you don't even remember what your starting build was. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't really matter the starting class you choose, but because of that, I think I'll go with this guy, the Vagabond, just because he has the most health, he has the most vigor, and he has a good split between strength and dexterity. So I think I will go with the Vagabond. I think I'll make it a guy. And here we get to my favorite part of these games. Making the character and making him as fucked up as possible. Let's make him, mature, middle-aged. Hold on one second. I will be right back. I am back. Sorry about that. I just had to go get my food because I forgot I ordered food a while ago. But I have it. I got a sandwich. And I was checking my phone because I was getting texts and shit. I don't check my phone for like 30 minutes and shit's happening. It's crazy. But yeah. Now I think we've been making fucked up characters throughout this entire marathon that I've been doing. Dark Souls games, Bloodborne, all of them have looked scary, ugly, fucked up. Except Demon Souls. I liked that one. I thought that was a baddie. So I named her baddie. But I'm just gonna do this real quick. The Golden Seed is pretty much the best one out of all of these. This is a starting talisman, which is kind of decent, but you quickly get replacements for talismans in this game. Golden Seed, I think, is just really good because you can use it to get an extra flask. So this is just souls. This is a summon you can use, which summons are nice. So this is also a good option. This is, I mean, you get pots throughout the game, so it's whatever. This is decent. It helps you get into certain locations, but you find these also throughout the game as well. So, this, I don't know. I think that you can use this on like certain enemies to like bewitch them. It's useless, I think, though. That is just a consumable, but you can only use it once. So, and then this just makes the game harder. So. Yeah. I'm gonna eat while I make this character. And, I have a feeling I'm gonna make the ugliest creation yet. Uglier than Peanut. Uglier than, Sharkweefa. You know what I'm saying? Alright. We are middle-aged men. I got in case you're wondering, I got a sandwich from Potbelly. And it's I think chicken, bacon, avocado. Let's have a bite, see if it's good. Oh yeah. Damn, that's good. Damn. God damn. So I think what I'm gonna do right now is eat while I make my character. So we're gonna be sitting in silence for a little while. Just enjoy the character creation process.